Boy, P. Skip. Welcome to the best half hour of your entire Tuesday. You know what time it is. It's time to get into his course. In my squad would be T-Mac.
Hola.
Chili Will.
Gracias, amigos.
Let's do this. Yo, what's good, y'all? Once again, we're here. Let's get into this. Today, I want to talk about giving honor where honor is due. Over in Romans chapter 13, verse 7 in the Amplified says, "Pay to all what is due. Taxes to whom taxes due, custom to whom customs are due, respect to whom respect is due, and honor to whom honor is due." So I said that to say the NBA is back. Woo! And the crowd goes wild.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back.
The NBA is back, and they're getting ready to give out the hardware to who should be named what?
MVP, etc. Go ahead, sir.
But before that, and we're going to get into that, hot off the presses, Tom Thibodeau just signed a 5-year deal with the New York Knicks to be the head coach.
Wow.
Do you think that was a good choice or bad choice? We're going to go with WW.
Terrible choice.
So why do you think that was such a terrible choice?
Because Thibodeau is an old school coach. Mm-hmm. And the way he coached and how he coached players, the time has passed him by.
Okay.
He was the coach when the Bulls had that juggernaut team, when Derrick Rose was young and they had all of those.
Right.
I mean, they had a good, tough team.
Right.
Those days are over with. Defense being played like that, being regiment hard. These young guys, they're not built like that. It's going to be real tough for him in New York to succeed. In New York, the Knicks have a very young team. I think that was a terrible choice. I thought Mark Jackson should have got that job. Mark Jackson is the one who put Golden State back on the map, although he didn't get the opportunity to fulfill the championship dream. He was the architect of putting the things in place that eventually went on to be somewhat of a dynasty.
Yeah.
And he's a native New Yorker. He played for the New York Knicks.
And went to St. John's.
And he went to St. John's. I thought that would be the logical choice for that position. So I'm surprised by who they picked, and I'm shocked by who they didn't give an opportunity to.
Yeah, I guess I'll agree and disagree. I think I agree that Mark Jackson should have gotten the job. I thought he was the shoe-in for it. Everything you talked about as far as building that Golden State team, drafting the players, putting the confidence in them that they could go ahead and go that far. I thought that he was, the shoe-in. I disagree, though, in terms of the coaching style of Tibbs being past its prime. I think one of the things that the Knicks had been, I guess, guilty of over the past couple of years has been this apparent lack of discipline. It was like, who's in charge? There's been so much flux, so much transition all throughout the organization, from the executive level even to the players, to the point to where it's like, man, this is a pickup at the YMCA. So I think what Tibbs will do is bring in some hardcore grown manness to those guys and force some maturity. Hey, we're going to approach this from a business-like approach. All the shenanigans and all that. I understand you guys are young and all, but this is a profession. This is a job. So you have to have some grown man chops about you in some shape, form, or fashion. I also think that the way his coaching tenure essentially crashed and burned both in Chicago and Minnesota was a learning lesson for him, in that even though I have to bring more of this structured military grown manness to the table, I can't come in Gestapo-like because jokers ain't having it. I'm not trying to have a situation where a few years back when P.J. Carlissimo got choked out by Latrell Sprewell. Right. I think some of that is real, too.
Why you got to bring that up, man? You ain't got to bring that up,
It's all
man.
about nostalgia.
Man, you got to bring that up, man. Everybody with a black eye ain't no victim, all right? Some people got choking coming.
He deserved it all.
Okay,
and I'm thinking
right,
that Tom Thibodeau kind of has that same kind of will get into your faces, but I think those previous situations showed him something. Matter of fact, Black Lives Matter movement, post the George Floyd piece, in that, hey, you still have to engage people with respect, whether you are the authority figure, whether they're young, whatever your impressions of them are, you still have to approach it with a certain type of decorum. And I think he learned from that. And the fact that he has this job now, he might also understand that, hey, man, this really should have been Mark Jackson's job, so I really have to demonstrate to the Knicks brass and to the fans that you guys didn't make the wrong choice, despite the fact that I might not have been the preferred choice. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that. So I think it's his time to kind of show and prove, and I think it'll be helpful for that team to just bring, if nothing else, discipline that they just haven't had. And so I think that in and of itself is going to be an improvement for him, and it might even get him 15 games just on that tip alone.
Well, let me ask this question. My opinion is Tibbs definitely brings some credibility to that team because they're young, they're very inexperienced, and they need. I don't think they need as much of a military coach as much as more of a fathering coach.
Yeah.
I think that's
good phrase.
I think that's more of what they need. Nurture me into being the player I need to be. I don't know.
Mark Jackson.
Right. And unless Tibbs has the ability to change his style, that's not the way he does things. Now, we've been mentioning Mark Jackson. My question is, in the NFL, they have this Rooney Rule that you have to interview minority coaches. Kentucky's coach, can't think of his name right now. Calipari is now starting a movement amongst college coaches to help bring minority coaches up to get some of these big Division I coaching jobs and to even help them be better coaches on whatever level they're on.
Yeah.
Give them opportunity, not only in coaching, but also as ACs, all that. ADs, athletic director, all those kind of things. So that's what's happening in college. Now, in basketball, are they doing the same thing?
You mean in the NBA?
In the NBA.
Yeah.
Correct.
Are they doing the same? Yes, there are some African-American coaches. But per player to coach ratio and executives, there's still a huge lack in equality in that area.
Yeah. But I think that speaks to, Patrick, I think that speaks to the heft and the depth and the potential of this current movement that we're in right now. A lot of the lip service, a lot of the funding, a lot of the conversation surrounding this, racial reckoning and social justice, I think is spilling over into, professional sports. I think the NBA in particular, they've made a couple of moves, while not necessarily perfect, I think are indicators that, okay, this might be a watershed moment for us. Right. The listing of the Black Lives Matter, movement on the floor. Now, there's two things there. I'm just talking just from the principle of Black Lives Mattering, not getting into the organization, because I have a couple of things that, when you look at their charter and stuff like that, that's a separate thing as far as them as an organization. Right. But the NBA is extending the olive branch. The players, hey, if y'all want to put some stuff on y'all jerseys, hey, we get it. This is the time that, jokers and the voices need to be heard. As far as the Knicks are concerned, the Knicks even made some moves on their executive level, bringing in Leon Rose as, like the GM there, who is a super agent who brought in Black Cat, who brought in William Worldwide Wesley, who has some ties to the entertainment industry, another brother. So they're saying, well, hey, look, even if we don't bring in Mark Jackson as the coach, we understand that we need to go ahead and add some more color to what we do. As far as coaches are concerned, you have some that are really waiting in the wings who are championship caliber folks, and those have won hardware. You got the Mark Jackson of the world. You also have assistants like Sam Cassell with the Clippers, as well as Tyronn Lue, jokers that got hardware. Right. So in terms of saying, well, hey, the pipeline might not necessarily be as, thick as we wanted to. Nah, bruh, you got some jokers on deck that have won championships, right, that have done, the resumes speak for themselves. Y'all got to not just interview them, y'all got to hire them. from here on out. And I think that this moment in time gives the leverage to say, hey, man, look, we're at a moment where the entire globe is saying, hey, past wrongs, even if we can't, get them all corrected, we do see that the status quo has been Bruce Lee karate kicked to the curb. And this is a new day, which is demonstrated by giving opportunities to individuals in leadership positions that have been black that have not heretofore been given out at the same rate as they have for white folks. And I think that right now is the time for that to begin to happen. And I think that conversation and the push forward we're in the midst of that right now.
Yeah. Now, here's my question. There's two questions I want to throw out there. Do you think, because remember, the Knicks tried to get Toronto's GM, and he was like, yeah, I don't want that job. Right. Do you think the culture at the Knicks is making players and coaches and GMs go, I don't want that job? Because I don't like the way ownership, I don't like the way management is. I just prefer not. The fact that two of the highest recruited free agents didn't want no parts of the Knicks and went right across the bridge.
Kyrie and KD.
Right.
I think you're answering your own question, but continue.
But that says a lot. It says that, and all the beef the owner has had with ex-players.
Yeah, fans, super fans, and regular fans.
And I'm going, there's a culture in the Knicks that is like,
it's
not good.
It's kryptonite.
Let's cut through the chase. It's the owner.
Yeah.
Period. The Knicks' problem hasn't been coaching. They had Phil Jackson as a coach. They had all kinds of coaches.
Yeah.
Their problem is not a coach. Their problem is ownership. So you can let whoever you think is a great coach, black, white, psychedelic, whatever, go coach the Knicks. The Knicks' problem is not getting a coach. The Knicks' problem is ownership.
Yeah.
Until that changes, I don't care who they hire. The Bucks got about 4 or 5 wins coming every year. So
courtesy of the Knickerbockers.
Courtesy of the Knicks. All right. So it's fine with me.
Got you.
You can have, I've said this before, you can have a great vision and put it in a great culture and it'll grow. You can have a great vision, put it in bad culture, and it will not grow.
Yes.
You can have a bad vision, put it in great culture, and it'll grow.
Yeah.
And so when you have a great coach and you put it into bad culture in the Knicks, nothing's going to be produced out of that.
Who's the best basketball coach ever? Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
They gave him the coaching and the GM. And he still couldn't get Porzingis to stay, and Carmelo Anthony and him fell out, and all kinds of mess was going on.
Yeah.
So you tell me.
Yeah, there's
it's
definitely
not a hard equation.
It's dysfunction that's there, and hopefully, the owner, Jim Dolan, will be able to see that, maybe take a more of a hands-off approach. And that spills into another just dynamic. If I'm the owner of something, be it my car, my crib, my clothes, my space, my business, can't nobody come in and tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying? Miss me with all that. This mine, you don't like it, kiss my behind and get your own thing.
Right,
so
right.
In terms of how that can be coerced into being changed, it won't be from the outside. He'll have to personally say, you know what, I'm taking a 10,000-foot look at my organization. Maybe I'm contributing disproportionately to the negativity and disruption that we had, dysfunction that we have. So I'll just, on my own volition, be willing to make a couple of changes. And that's going to have to happen with him personally, because can't nobody tell an owner nothing to do when they own, that's mine. I'm doing what I want to do.
Let me just bring into light what has just happened recently. There is no longer an NFL team called the Washington Redskins because the owner said, I'll never change the name. I own this.
Yeah.
It's my car. But guess what? When people start taking their money away, he took the name away. So if the Knicks want to change and they want to win, they sell out. They the most expensive franchise in the NBA.
Highest value.
Highest valued franchise. They sell out every game.
Yeah.
So if the Knicks fan want their team to be good, they want their team to win, they got to stop supporting the team.
And it will take that. That was an excellent example of outside pressure coming to bear. It still, though, was Snyder's decision. He could have said, FedEx, okay, D's nuts. Excuse me, you all on this gospel show, and I'll go ahead and find some other sponsor.
He said that until the money got
the
higher.
Nike and all that kind
Money
of
changes everything.
yeah. So if there is an exception to the rule, it will be unless there's a disruption into your cash flow.
That's the only-
Owners
That's the
ain't
only
gonna
way.
be coerced into doing.
That's the
nothing,
only way.
'cause it's-
Only way.
it's
That's the
there.
only way. So they can hire whoever
Yeah.
they want
Right.
to coach the Knicks.
But
Right.
even if you go back a little further,
Uh-huh.
the Clippers situation
Mm-hmm.
with their ownership, and he's saying racist stuff. They made him sell,
And guess
but
what?
he made $2 billion off of it.
But and guess what? The Clippers
Right.
been good ever
Ever
since.
since. Ever
Yep.
since. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
And here's the thing with the NBA. The NBA makes money when the Knicks are good. The NBA has always made more money, has always been a better NBA when the Knicks are good. There's certain teams that have to be good for the NBA to be a moneymaker. LA, New York, and Boston, and Philly. But those four have to be good. Have to be good.
I would say they make more money maybe when those teams are good, but they make bread when those teams aren't, because the Knicks have been mediocre
2
since-
decades.
Right.
Since what,
But-
Willis Reed?
2
Right.
decades.
But how much more money would they make? They've been mediocre since
Ewing.
Ewing.
Yeah.
Good point. The 90s.
But if the Knicks are great, because the Knicks have their own channel, all that, there's so much more revenue that comes into that pot that the NBA all gets to dig out of. So that's the piece where I'm like, they want those major franchise, those major marketing teams to be great because it brings in money for everybody.
Two questions then on that very point. Why has the NBA not taken a more aggressive stance against the owner of the Knicks and the Knicks organization, a la what they did to Donald Sterling, to either get out or vastly improve this money-making machine? And second question is, despite them not having done it thus far, do you see that on the horizon anytime soon, given the impact disproportionately that the Knicks and their success can have on the overall pot of the NBA?
You want to go first?
Yeah, let me go first. I don't think that, they can do that because it was a different reason why Donald Sterling was let go.
Same thing I was going to say.
It's a different reason. The Knicks, as the owner of anything, has the right to lose money on it.
Right.
I own this.
I own this. I can lose money on this. I can subsidize this out of my own personal wealth if I want to.
Right.
Right.
So it ain't like, it's a lot of franchises in the NBA that are not the New York Knicks that are losing money
Right.
and winning games and losing money. So they can't make him do it just because, he's not a good.
We don't like you.
Yeah, he's not a good businessman. If he did something that was, something else, maybe they
Egregious.
could put some pressure on him. But right now, as long as they buying all the Knicks stuff and going to the games, and the Knicks they got the highest seats.
Yeah,
in the
highest
NBA.
ticket price,
In the NBA.
most valued
All of
franchise
that.
in sports.
And as long as people keep
And
going,
you have no parking.
nothing.
yeah,
You
You got to take the bus to the game.
Or
all
the
of that.
subway.
Or the
And if
train.
that doesn't, if people keep giving him the money,
yeah.
he don't care if they win or lose. It's a business for him.
And
Facts.
do they have the oldest arena? Because they got to
I
have
think
closer
Madison
to the,
Square Garden. Yeah, it is kind of ancient.
they have to have the oldest.
But they just put $1 trillion into it in the last few years. It is
Okay,
it's a
rehab.
palace.
Got
it.
It's
Yeah, but-
beautiful. It is
Okay.
beautiful. Yeah.
But I think just like what you said, Will, to touch on is he has to do something so crossing the line-ish.
Egregious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that there's
What's
no
that
coming
word?
back from
Egregious.
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 Egregious. All right.
Yeah, that you can't come back from that, and you just put a black eye on the league, and now the players are rebelling because that's what
Well,
happened
the
with
players
Sterling.
are rebelling now. Porzingis didn't want to re-up.
Yeah.
Free agents don't want to go there. So
Carmelo
that's
wants to
not
be out.
enough. What has to happen is he got to get hit like Snyder
Right.
in the pocketbook.
Right.
If he get hit in the pocketbook, the Knicks will be all right.
And he has enough season ticket holders.
Clientele.
He has enough season ticket
got enough
holders
clientele.
that
Yeah.
he'll never get hit in the pocket.
Because it's a bunch of people who want those seats because it's prestige.
Right.
Yeah, cachet.
Right. It's the game. It's the only game in town.
It's the only game in town.
You know. So wow. Hey, listen. Speaking of basketball, staying with the whole basketball situation. Again, we talked about giving honor where honor is due, and the hardware for MVP is about to go out. And again, all of the votes are based upon pre-COVID lockdown numbers.
That's okay.
And right now, the two forerunners or front runners is Giannis Antetokounmpo and LeBron James. And for me, it's not even a
Close
it's not even-
contest.
No, it's not even a close contest or race. Look, Giannis won it last year, and he came back better,
Yes, he has
Than
better
last
stats
year.
than he had last year when he won it.
and his team is better.
His team is better. Plus minus ratio, everything.
All that.
Yeah.
Every stat he was good in last year, he's better in this year.
And he can hit the three.
Right. But yet, there's a question on whether or not LeBron is still in the running.
Where's Cameo when we need him?
Right.
It's over. It's over.
Oh, my
It didn't
goodness.
last
Yeah.
very long.
Hey,
So you cast your vote for LeBron James?
are you kidding me? You about to make me speak in tongues over here, bro. Are you kidding me? Come on now. You know, even Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles can see that
Man,
Giannis is the best
he's the MVP.
MVP.
Back to back.
And here's the thing. He's the best player on the best team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not just the best team in the East, but the best team with the overall record.
Yes.
That should say it in itself. Hands down, Giannis won it.
Yeah.
But the fact that they keep trying to make this debate on whether or not this debate here is like the debate back in the days when they said, who's better, Jordan or Clyde Drexler?
Yeah.
Jordan
You know,
or anybody else.
You know, why are you having that debate?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this whole thing is media driven.
Because they're trying to keep bringing.
They got to have something to talk about. It's got to be interesting. We got to be controversial. We got to think of all kinds of ways to try to make LeBron a candidate to win.
Yeah, a
Every
contender.
way you slice it and dice it, Giannis comes up cream of the crop. Every way you,
Right.
any
Hands
kind of way.
down.
The only thing that LeBron does better than Giannis is assists, and it's not by that much.
Right.
It's only by he maybe average 4 more assists a game than Giannis.
Yeah.
Not that much.
Yeah, the 2-year body of work that Giannis has been able to do is I think it's unprecedented in Bucks history, I believe, and close to some of the best that basketball has ever had as far as just stats. He came out of virtually nowhere and just took the MVP last year because the stats were just crazy. Bucks ran away, had the best record in the league, and he was a phenom. And when you look at the stats, close to 30 points a game, double digits in rebounds, about 5 or 6 assists. This year, he has improved all of those stats. I mean,
In less minutes.
in less minutes. So he has, raised his efficiency to the power of 11.
Yeah, his efficiency is ridiculous. Might be
I
one of the
mean-
best efficiencies in the history of the league.
Exactly. So you can't not give it, to him, and his team is the best team. Now I'm a LeBron James fan.
Me too.
He's he might even arguably my favorite player. But as a sports fan, I got to keep it 100.
Well, let me-
You got to look at the total body of work. I'm going to let you get in, Will.
Mm-hmm.
The total body of work over the course of the season, and this is a guy that has a target on his back, is the total focus of the entire opposing defense, and plays in an offensive style that does not necessarily highlight him or showcase him or gives him a number of ISOs where he can take 55 dribbles per possession, he's doing this off sheer hustle. And dare I say, I don't think his game is as polished as it can be still. He has deficiencies.
Yes.
And is killing the game like
Yes.
that. You have to look at this almost as very, very close to being a freak of nature in what he's been able to accomplish at the highest possible level against the best players in the world, and he's not even at 100% of his potential. I think it's phenomenal. And as a hometown guy, the Bucks are our team, Milwaukee. So he get extra cheese just for that. Way to go, Giannis. Keep it going. Bring back that championship, player.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to say this because this is just, we media. So I'm going to throw a wrench in the game. All right? I agree. We agree. Giannis is the MVP of the league. Mm-hmm. But I still believe that LeBron James is the best player in the world.
Okay. And what makes you say that?
Because of all that he's accomplished, how long
That's
he's
what I was
accomplished
gonna
it, his body of work, everywhere he go, the team go to the finals. I mean,
So in other words, Giannis has put together an excellent body of work for the past 2 seasons. LeBron has done it for 17 seasons. His whole career has been a body of work.
And LeBron is super
I agree.
spectacular, but statistically, he's not more valuable in the NBA than Giannis has been last year and this year. But
Yeah.
if you ask me who's the best player on planet Earth, I would say LeBron James. I wouldn't say Giannis.
Yeah.
But Giannis is definitely the MVP of the NBA the last 2 years, statistically, and with the body of work he's done for his team and his statistics and so on and so forth.
And I don't think you get any argument on even the way you just put that because I think it's, facts. I mean, LeBron James, I think that I share this with my son all the time. I think he'll be even more appreciated once he leaves the game than he has been throughout his career and even now. Because what he does, not just in terms of himself, but the way he improves he makes other players better. With every team. I mean, he went to 8 finals in a row with a couple different teams. Kyrie Irving never got to the playoffs, let alone get a championship until LeBron was with him. And his ability to pass, to score, to lead a team. I mean, in fact, Gilbert Arenas had let it out maybe 4 or 5 years ago that LeBron is actually left-handed. He's a lefty. He shoots right. He passes right. He can finish with the right. So he's ambidextrous. So to have that kind of skill, I think he's one of the most skilled players ever as well. And I think that one of the things that kind of is that people hold against him is that when he was coming out, there was this immediacy of he's going to be the next Jordan. He's going to score like him. He's going to, attack this, and this. What they didn't give LeBron credit for was LeBron was his own kind of player.
Right.
And so he brings different things to the mix, and he is 100% the coldest of who he is, whereas Jordan is who he is. LeBron James is like you said, maybe the best player in the world.
No arguments there, but let's talk about the rookie of the year, the
Well,
coach of the year,
whoa.
the
Tell
defensive
you what.
player of the year.
Let's get to that next week, because that's a whole lot of digging to get into.
Gotcha.
So let's get into
Running
that
out
next
of time.
week. So listen,
Bummer.
thanks for hanging out with us. Get back here next week. You know it's going to be meaty and juicy. We want you to be a part of the conversation.
Man, this was the fastest show we ever did.
That's what we do, man. We're getting better at what we do.
Man, this
So
was
listen,
fast.
meet us back here next week, Tuesday, 7 o'clock to 7:30, same bat time, same bat channel, right here, Joy 1348 AM, 98.7 FM, also on Facebook and YouTube, Into His Court. Until next week, peace.